Welcome all. It's time for another Wesley's Watches review. You are the Time Troopers, and I am Wesley. Now I'm going to do a James Bond reference. Pew, pew, pew. Blood. Back when the movie Octopussy came out, Roger Moore wore this Seiko watch, which is the Seiko G757. This is when digital watches were actually cool and not old. This watch made by Casio, very similar looking. People call it the Casio Royale. And I have a plastic version of it. The model number of mine is AE1200WH. This one with the metal has a D at the end. This watch is my favorite out of all the Casio watches that I use. I have many. Because this watch has a cool software suite. But this one has been bested. There is a Daniel Craig to this Roger Moore, and that is this watch here. It shares the exact same software suite, but it is better for me. Casio watches software suck. If you press and hold down this bottom button, eventually the word Casio will show up. I have a knockoff? Oh, it did it. I was just impatient. Anyway, point is, these software, the way it works is you toggle through the time, then the alarm. You can do some things with the alarm here, and then stopwatch. When you cycle back around, you can set the time that way. Very simple. Let's say you need to set an 8-minute timer. Well, then you go, okay, I'm going to set an alarm for 5:09. You go here and you do math. In these watches case, you go to the timer section. So these watches are more fully featured when it comes to settings like that because it has a timer. But it also has 5 different world times. For instance, here you can see the location of where the world time is in the tiny map. Ready? So I will change. This is just on the main watch. Press it. Now it has jumped to Chicago on the map. Press it again. Now it's on Denver. Press it again. Now I'm on LA time. Press it again. Now I'm back at the beginning. Now if I go over one time, there's a separate world time section, which, I guess that's Taipei or whatever. This watch, which is a G-Shock and it has nice software, also has a separate world time section, right? That's actually the moon, but there's the world time, right? Many watches have that. This watch has that world time, plus on the main face, you can set it a bunch of little times. Insane. In addition, this watch has 5 different alarms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these alarms, when set, aren't just set in 2 different modes. There are 3 ways you can set an alarm. This is mode 1, off. You can also set it to 1-on or just on. What is 1-on? 1-on means after the alarm plays, it'll turn itself to off. Whereas on means it'll always play every time you hit 1:35 throughout the day. That is also very useful. These alarms stay on until you turn them off. Then, of course, the signal for every hour is just another alarm setting here. So there's 6 menu items when you go to this alarm section, all of which regularly talk about chimes that happen throughout the day at certain times. Then there's a timer section, which I bragged about before. You can set it down to the second, which I like. And then the stopwatch, while it plays, can actually be useful as a watch because it has an analog readout right here. This analog readout, luckily, is horrible on this watch because that's the only thing that gives this watch anything to talk about. They remove the map, which to some may be useful, but not to me, and instead give you a time segment pi section. But this is a lot easier to read. I could talk about it, but I won't. The date is much easier to read. And despite the time being small, if you use it as like a stopwatch, as a time device to show you how long you've been awake or something along those lines, you still get an analog time readout. Whereas with these watches, when they're on stopwatch mode, you see nothing but at the top. So, these watches, pretty dang cool. This is the Daniel Craig James Bond. This is the true Casio Real Royale, the real Royale. Thanks for watching. Blood.